Subtle angles are the same exact thing as broad angles, simple, straight lines. Except now we are looking more specifically, broad to subtle, the big picture to the details. Essentially, what we are doing is refining, and we are getting into the nittier and grittier parts. We've made this easier for ourselves by mapping out the space with our broad angles. Like a sculptor, you are starting out with large blocks of clay or stone and cutting into these broad forms. As you chip away from the broad shapes, you can discover and reveal the subtler forms. So here we are back with our friend the bear for some subtle angles. Now, moving around the image, we look for the finer angles that the broader angles have contained. As you look for subtle angles, you can ask yourself similar questions as you did with broad angles. What direction is this angle? How steep and how long? As you can see, even after putting in the subtler angles, the actual shape of the bear, there he is, becomes very clear. This Wizards training session will follow the same pattern as last time. Using the photo set that we already have our broad angles on, we will now refine what is there with subtle angles. For the first part of your Wizards training, you can take the images you traced over from last time and just continue tracing, but now with subtle angles, just as I'm doing here with our friend the elephant. Second, you can continue your two freehand drawings with the broad angles and now add in your subtle angles, just as I'm doing here with my image. Try not to think too much and just start putting those angles in there. The details of an image, even at this stage, can be overwhelming, so let using subtle angles help you simplify what you see. And don't worry about getting it perfect. Just keep going and just keep throwing those angles in there. You'll notice that our broad angles we drew in previously are serving a similar purpose as our picture frame and the grid. They give us another way to contain what we see and guide us as to where to put our lines. This makes it more manageable for our focus. I've sped up this video quite a bit so it's easier to watch, but definitely take your time as you work through your drawings. Alrighty, so here's one more example, just to give you the full process of moving from broad to subtle. I've set up my drawing paper with my grid points and established my map for the drawing with broad angles. From there, I will begin refining the drawing with subtle angles. For simplicity, we've been drawing from photographs, but angles, both broad and subtle, can likewise be applied when drawing from life. As you can see, the drawing is beginning to take shape and the forms recognized. It takes practice, but utilizing these simple tools we've learned so far, including the viewfinder, the grid, landmarks, broad angles, and now subtle angles, already brings you a long way in your drawing abilities. Be the sculptor who chips away at the blocks with your pencil to reveal the subtler forms. Soon an image will begin to appear before you. You are learning to draw.